Hello, I'm Jordan Robinson, and I am one of the hosts of the Culture Bytes podcast, hosted by the Indigenous Youth Wellness Team. And I have another host here with me.
Hi, my name's Tristen Westman. I'm Northern Tachoni, and I'm also one of the people who will be hosting this podcast.
Yes, as said earlier, I'm Jordan Robinson, and I am from the Housing Nation on the west coast of Vancouver Island. And I am very privileged to be able to host and have conversations with Indigenous youth, which will be the whole platform of the Culture Bytes podcast. In specificity, Culture Bytes, BYTES. I'm excited for it. We have a new logo ready, the Salish Woolly Dog, done by honorary IYW team member Athena Pika. And but yeah, so Culture Bytes platform, we're hoping to set a new standard for Indigenous youth voices and really highlighting them in a sense. We do have experience working with Indigenous youth, and I am the graphics and production specialist of the Indigenous Youth Wellness Team, and I've got to host for Teachings in the Air, not host, but record and do many things for Teachings in the Air podcast. So being able to do this now is like stepping into a whole new set. And what do you happen to do for the Indigenous Youth Wellness?
I am the social media and community initiatives coordinator with the Indigenous Youth Wellness Team. I'm really excited for the opportunity to give the youth what they asked for at Gathering Our Voices, which was to hear more youth voices. We did a survey when we were at Gathering Our Voices this year back in March, and a lot of the youth wanted to see a podcast. So we're really excited to be able to make that one of our deliverables.
Yeah, and it really is awesome to be able to go to events like Gathering Our Voices, Healing Our Spirits Worldwide, where we get to represent Indigenous Youth Wellness Team. But it's not just us two that are part of the crew. Off camera, we have our coworkers, Jacqueline Walker, Naomi Bob, Jacob Knutson, and these things wouldn't be able to happen without our whole crew behind us. We've had great leadership in all those behind us at our job and outside of our job as well. So we are very much happy to be able to highlight it in our own way, in our own voice now. We're going in a completely new direction as to the way we're going to approach this podcast. So we're setting the best of intentions with this, hoping to discuss many subjects to not only give more knowledge, but more insight and personal experiences for the Indigenous youth. So how do you find your work coinciding with Indigenous youth?
So one of the things that you mentioned about the podcast is how excited you were to have a new podcast starting up. And one of the things that I'm excited about is the formatting of this podcast. As you can see, we've got the video and we've got a really nice logo. So I think that it'll be really cool to be able to utilize those snippets in some of the work that I do as a social media coordinator, because I'll be able to broadcast those on all of our social media channels such as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And then that's just another way to get youth voices out to all of the Indigenous youth across BC and beyond.
We're really excited for the new direction of not only just podcasting, but our visual content. We're going to be able to deliver in a way that we find very applicable and suitable for the content we're looking to start anew. We've been part of this team as the core members for a few years now, and we really wanted to step our game up, especially for the Indigenous youth, to see our faces and hear our voices, which we feel is super important to the work that we're going to be doing. As we mentioned before, we've gotten to attend many events involving the Indigenous youth, and part of our surveys involving a visual podcast and highlighting things like on the land learning and more of our Culture Bytes videos, which are surrounded around food and health and harvesting and hunting. And this is just all part of the content we get to make as a team. So now we're looking to actually listen to youth voices and introduce conversations surrounding things like art, identity, experiences, music, traditional harvesting, anything like that, food, health, which health as a whole is a huge subject and one we've talked about a lot here. The one thing I like to always say from our previous elder Jerry is health is mind, body, and spirit, and we really take that into account here. So this is why I'm a huge proponent for things like food learning, physical health, and mental health too, which is things we'll be touching on hopefully with our guests and representatives. So as for directions that you'd like to see us go, what do you anticipate?
I think for myself, I'm just really excited to see how organic everything will be. Something that I've noticed a lot of elders do is they'll write down notes, but they won't write down every single thing that they want to say. So when they're speaking from their heart. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing us as the hosts do, as well as hearing from our guests, hearing exactly what they're feeling in the moment and being able to hear about some of their reflections and even some of their goals, where they're heading in terms of their futures and what they want to do and what they want to share with the other youth throughout.
One of the great, more recent examples that we actually, Tristen and I got to attend, is a program where we've seen Indigenous youth really doing some intense, research and scientific studies. And these are some of the, I won't talk about the program, but really in-depth research on biological studies and medical technology, just things that just went over my head. And some of these are some of the voices that I really want to interact with, is just seeing Indigenous youth interacting with the world in completely new ways, being able to learn and shine in new positions and things that may have never had access to before. So I think it's very important, just as you said, to be discussing and having these conversations with the youth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for folks who haven't really engaged with our content before, you'll hear us say the word youth a lot, but our content is primarily for folks who are 29 and under. However, if you don't fall within that age range, we're really happy that you're tuning in and that you're listening, and hopefully you're able to share this content with the youth that are in your lives. I will speak for my job specifically. I have a really great opportunity where I get to do a lot of giveaways in terms of the social media. And one of the big ones that we've been doing annually is a laptop giveaway. So I love that one because it's an opportunity to get computers into youth's hands and for them to really demonstrate that they want to learn and they have a commitment to learning. And I think that it's a great way to reduce and to break down some barriers that exist. So,
yeah. Accessibility to many things is very important to the Indigenous Youth Wellness Team, especially things like technology and other, elders and just information. That's one of the reasons we started the idea of Culture Bytes. The idea of the show Culture Bytes, which is also on our YouTube, quick little plug. It was surrounding the discussion of food and food accessibility and recipes and things like that. We'd like to engage with the youth and give very good information. But now Culture Bytes, I feel like, is growing into this completely new idea, and I'm so excited for it. I'm looking to expand into, as I mentioned earlier, music, art, personal stories, physical health, because I feel like culture is such a wide, transcendent thing, and it's so exciting to like branch a little beyond the idea of just food and the discussion of food. Also, I filmed the Cultural Bites episode. It's the smoked bison jerky. If you want to check it out, it's pretty good. Also, Jacob did really great work. He hosted things like the deer butchering workshop and the bison farm, which I got to go check out too. These are on our YouTube once again, Indigenous Youth Wellness. So, as for podcast experience, we do have a little bit of experience hosting and handling podcasts. The Indigenous Youth Wellness team used to be behind Teachings in the Air with host and elder Jerry Oldman. And it was such a great honor and privilege to work alongside Jerry. But now, so we're just hopping into this new idea with us, the team itself. How were your experiences with the podcast work we did before? Like, how do you feel like you gained some ground information, on the ground information in regards to hosting and discussing podcasts?
I definitely think that we learned a lot working with Elder Jerry. I will say that it's very different to be on this side of the camera because we used to be the background crew. We were the ones helping, and we still do help to set up some of the equipment and to make sure that everything is running smoothly and that we're sticking to our timelines as best as possible. I mean, sometimes it doesn't always work out the way that we want it to, but I think that it's really important that when things aren't going as planned, we're able to just take a moment and to pause and to breathe and then to become regrounded. And that's one of the reasons why we thought that it would be so important to make sure that we have some medicines with us today for our first recording session. I am also really honored that we had the opportunity to work with Elder Jerry for so long. We definitely learned that mistakes are okay when we don't know exactly what it is that we want to say. There's still some meaning in it for people, and when you rewatch things, you'll be able to pick up on new meaning each and every time. So that's just part of the process.
Yeah, it is. Do what you can with what you got. As you can see, we have dollar store bungee cord holding up our Salish woolly dog. You make it work. That's all it is when we'd host events in towns for the community, if we couldn't get in, Elder Jerry said we'll have it in the parking lot, which is really things like that we've learned that inspire us. As discussed before, it really is a privilege to be able to have things like the camera and equipment and things like that to be able to deliver this new platform to you guys. But even now, the one thing we understand is clear communication and interaction with our youth face-to-face is the most important. And that's one of the things that keeps us going into the work and to events and to the content we do. Highlighting many Indigenous youth voices because, man, there's such a vast quantity of information out there and many voices and unique experiences.
Yeah, so during the summer, we also did a call out for the Indigenous Youth Wellness social media takeover collaboration. So Jordan and I, as well as the rest of the team, got to see all of these wonderful applications roll in, and we've got 14 folks that will be featured on our social media until the end of March. So we're really looking forward to highlighting their voices and their experiences over the next few months.
Yeah, so one of the great things about the Culture Bytes podcast as well is you'll be able to keep up to date with possibly our contests and our workshops and anything that will be on the go. So we're hoping to keep it very current and very informational as we go. We're looking for inspirational Indigenous guests, and we are hoping to share as many honest and hopeful voices as we can as well. We love stories, and one of our favorite things to do is to go out and see you face to face and hear your stories and hear your experiences. And that was really the highlight of a lot of our work, especially if we were exhausted, I felt like, after an event or traveling. After many years of that, we still take away the one voice that just thanked us and appreciated and shared a moment with us that we got to host. So Culture Bytes is hopefully going to be a super informational and just honest platform for voices that we're looking to host. So if you feel like you have a story or someone you know that inspires you, or your youth who just wants to be able to suggest anyone, feel free to look to Indigenous Youth Wellness social medias, Instagram, Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
What is the account title?
At Indigenous Youth Wellness. It's the same on both Facebook and Instagram.
That's great. We look forward to having more conversations and more youth voices and more Indigenous voices. Take care.
Thank you. Masicho.
Kleko, kleko.